fella ain't happy. Just look at his face. We're gonna be sick all over the place.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Top 10 Toons, where we count down the top 10 cartoons, a variety of subjects involving all your favorite cartoons. New, old, it doesn't matter. Boy, are you in for it this episode. I'll be honest, when I thought to make top 10 ugliest toons, I thought it would be a fun poke at some of the more questionable looking cartoons. But oh no friends, some of the cartoons you'll see on this list are downright vomit inducing. I just couldn't believe how repulsive some cartoons are. And you know what they say, misery loves company. So now I get to share these stains of the cartoon world with all of you. Yay! Now for this list, we are excluding all adult cartoons. The reason is because many of those cartoons are purposely created ugly to be more edgy and to get a reaction out of the viewers. Those cartoons are ugly by choice. No, loyal toon heads. We are counting down the cartoons that are ugly naturally. And a little disclaimer. This list is based on looks alone and does not factor in the quality of the show or the talent of those working on them. The artists and animators do have good skills. In fact, some of these shows may be pretty good. But my god, are they hideous. Whether through questionable design choices or a complete lack of taste, the cartoons on this list are horrific and only get worse as the video goes on. So grab your barf bag and hold on to your stomach. These are the top 10 ugliest toons.
Afraid to look ugliness in the face?
Number 10.
Look at it!
We are the Martians, the butt ugly Martians. We are the Martians, the butt ugly Martians.
First up on our trip down the toilet bowl is the alien invaders with radical attitudes, the Butt Ugly Martians. Butt Ugly Martians is an early 2000s CGI cartoon and it shows. The plot is basically that a trio of Martians are sent to Earth by the orders of the evil Emperor Bog as an invasion force. However, the three Martians fall in love with human culture and decide to stay there and fend off Emperor Bog's invasion attempts. This show came out in the early stages of 3D animated cartoons and it has all the common problems that those shows had. Namely, the really dated looking graphics. Despite the name, the Butt Ugly Martians aren't actually that bad looking. The humans on the other hand, ooh.
What's up with him?
Maybe he had to go to the little alien hunter's room.
They look so soulless and move in such a robotic way. It's unnatural. The Martians are the best looking things in the show. Even their ships and crew look better than anything on Earth. Speaking of Earth, the backgrounds look really dull and basic. Most of the show's action scenes take place in the desert, which is nothing but sand and rocks. But even in the town scenes, everything looks like basic shapes with textures plastered all over them. And what is that? I know that 3D modeling options were limited for cartoon shows back then, but come on, that looks like a horned melon. The models aside, even the shading is off. The shadows are really harsh on the characters, but very faint on the ground, which is where it would actually make sense to have dark shadows. I wanted to include at least one early 3D cartoon on this list to showcase all the issues that those shows had, and you can't go wrong with the one that calls itself out for being ugly as butt.
We are the Martians, the butt ugly Martians. We are the Martians, the butt ugly Martians.
Afraid to look ugliness in the face?
Number 9.
Look at it!
The alarm went off, George.
Perhaps this rebooted cartoon should have stayed on the drawing board. It's George and Jr. George and Jr. was a cartoon created by the famous Tex Avery in the 1940s. The bear duo only appeared in a small number of shorts before they were lost in the sands of time for nearly 50 years. Now, I've never been a fan of Tex Avery's cartoons and find it too nonsensical, with an art style that's almost worthy of this list. But the 90s took it a step too far. Back in the 90s, there was a series created by Hanna-Barbera called What a Cartoon. This series gave animators and artists free range to create shorts to express their creative cartoony side, and it worked really well. Shows such as the Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, Courage the Cowardly Dog, codenamed Kids Next Door, and many other great cartoons got their origins in this series. Even shows like Family Guy owe their start to What a Cartoon. But one show that thankfully never took off was George and Jr. Based on the Tex Avery shorts, 2 episodes were made about George and Jr., but they got a really bad makeover. The original designs were nothing special to look at, but the 90s versions thought that making them uglier would make them funnier. It did not. With hideous new bodies and movement that is both extremely sharp and far too exaggerated for even mundane moments, they took George and Jr. and threw them into a blender. What was left was a disfigured mess of fur and bone. What a cartoon indeed.
Junior, I think I need a doctor.
I think you need an electrician.
And what you need is a brain surgeon!
Afraid to look ugliness in the face?
Number 8.
Look at it!
Even the name sounds ugly. It's Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket. Seriously? A relatively new cartoon from Nickelodeon's lineup. Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket had an art style that was just unpleasant to look at. The show is basically about the 4 characters named in the title and their wacky daily life. Honestly, it's a really good cartoon, despite its questionable art style. The best way for me to describe the look of the show is imagine a children's book with illustrations of the characters. Now take those characters and distort them to make all the outlines look like someone drew it with their opposite hand and add unneeded sketch lines to literally everything. Boom! Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket. This cartoon style isn't necessarily ugly enough to prevent someone from enjoying the show, but it definitely isn't helping. I honestly believe that if the show had a more modern look, it would have lasted longer. An art style similar to, say, The Loud House or even It's Pony, which has a somewhat similar art style but tones down the sketch lines and has clear outlines for the characters. There are some gross moments too, which doesn't help the show look any better. I feel like the art style doesn't fit with the tone of the show. If they wanted to make something full of gross out humor, this style would make sense. But for the well thought out stories and jokes in the show, they needed a better art direction. Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket was too ugly for its own good.
Achoo!
Pig, goat, banana, cricket! Pig, goat, banana, cricket!
Afraid to look ugliness in the face?
Number 7.
Look at it!
Going outside, there's adventure waiting out there just for you.
Where do I even begin with Dirt Girl World? How about, who in their right mind thought that adding realistic eyes and mouths to a children's cartoon would be a good idea? What is this, the annoying orange? Dirt Girl World is a general children's cartoon with catchy songs and lessons about farming and life in the outdoors. But seriously, why would they do this? That's what people do on purpose to make their characters look scary. To make the design even more hideous, the characters have such small noses that most of the shots make it look like they have none. Why? This show just boggles my mind. Did no one object to this design? Couldn't they have come up with anything better? It's a children's cartoon for Pete's sake. Oh wait, they do have one other design for their main characters. Bugs with human faces.
I might not be scared of butterflies anymore, but I sure am ticklish.
Ugh. I can't. I just can't. Next cartoon, please.
I'm going outside and I'm gonna get grubby. I'm going outside and I'm gonna get grubby. I'm going outside and I'm gonna get grubby. Get grubby.
Afraid to look ugliness in the face?
Number 6.
Look at it!
Cow.
Kiki?
A cartoon so ugly that it knows it.
Hey, I know you hate being ugly, but somebody has to make everyone else look good.
Cow and Chicken is a classic example of cartoon ugliness. A 90s show about a cow and a chicken who somehow ended up being siblings. Cow and Chicken was definitely a unique cartoon. Although not necessarily an inherently disgusting looking cartoon, Cow and Chicken definitely has its moments. There are many characters in this show that look downright horrible. I'm looking at you, red guy. This devilish looking man is only the cherry on this mud sundae, as most of the human characters are designed to look dreadful. The show enjoys distorting its characters into a mess of feathers and meat, and showcasing some of the characters' more uncomfortable features.
Hey, cut it out, cow. I'm watching TV here.
To be fair, the art style matches the tone of the show, but that doesn't take away from its ugliness. Cow and Chicken's horrid look is matched only by its unpleasant nature.
Afraid to look ugliness in the face?
Number 5.
Look at it!
I have no idea how this cartoon got greenlit. Almost Naked Animals is a show that is ugly down to its own conception. Noah Z. Jones, creator of Fishhooks, cursed the world by deciding to make Almost Naked Animals look the way that they do. Based on his own art website he made years ago, Noah finally got his art to the small screen. Unfortunately. Almost Naked Animals is a show about animals who run a tropical resort and all the kooky antics that ensue. However, unlike Cow and Chicken, who had a couple of unpleasant looking characters, this show managed to make every single character in the show look repulsive through one simple decision, giving them all awkward shaped bodies and keeping them perpetually dressed in only their underwear. Whether feathered or furred, every animal looks like they had a bad day at the barber. It is just so unnatural to see animals look so naked. Excuse me, almost naked. You see details that you should never have to see, such as obnoxious tan lines, large belly buttons, and even nipples on the child-appropriate animals. I don't get why anyone would approve such a disgusting looking cartoon and premise. Just looking at it for a second makes me really uncomfortable. It's not right. It's not natural. It's ugly.
Afraid to look ugliness in the face?
Number 4.
Look at it!
My name is Angela. Hey, hello. Welcome to my very own show. I'll introduce my friends to you. Oh no, it's Nitty Poo.
The cartoon that inspired this list in the first place. It's Angela Anaconda. Angela Anaconda is a show about an 8-year-old girl with the same name. It's just an everyday life cartoon. Nothing particularly interesting about— oh my god! This show has one of the most disturbing art styles I have ever seen. The few times I glimpsed the show as a kid made me immediately feel disgusted towards it and left a permanent stain in my mind. Angela Anaconda uses real life black and white photos of their actors superimposed onto cartoon bodies and worlds. I'm sorry, mostly cartoon bodies, as their limbs are also photorealistic. This makes it so the characters move in awkward stop motion like movements. It's bad enough that the cartoon uses photos in this way, but with all of them being in black and white while the world is filled with color makes it look way more awkward than it should, and that's saying something. I heard that the show was planning to get rebooted with color photos, and it looks— well, it doesn't look that nice, but it definitely is an improvement. Whichever way you look at it, Angela Anaconda's art style is just plain ugly.
My name is Angela, and you are not Nanette Man Wars, a stuck-up jerk-faced nut.
Afraid to look ugliness in the face?
Number 3.
Look at it!
I'll tell you what, though. Do you have any rubber walrus protectors? Call the police.
The grandfathers of ugly cartoons, the Ren and Stimpy Show pushed the boundaries of what children's cartoons can do. The Ren and Stimpy Show is a 90s cartoon that blew away audiences when it first came out. It was completely different than anything that had been done before. People didn't know whether to look in awe or look away in sheer disgust. Turns out most people couldn't look away, as Ren and Stimpy became a staple of 90s kids' childhoods. Ren and Stimpy took gross out humor and made it into an art. Never before had a cartoon been as disgusting yet entertaining as them. Ren and Stimpy paved the way for risque cartoons to come, whether made for adults or not. Many tried to copy their formula. without much success, and others took their formula and ran with it. One of the key features that Ren and Stimpy introduced was gross-ups, close-up shots of disgustingly painted scenes to emphasize how ugly and grotesque it really is. This became a hit as many of the cartoons followed in their footsteps, from Flapjack to SpongeBob. Gross-ups were so ugly and surprising that you can't help but stare. Ren and Stimpy is filled to the brim with ugly characters and even uglier moments. They are the epitome of ugly cartoons. Characters with far too detailed features, distorted bodies, unnatural movements, and uncomfortable scenes. They definitely knew how to be an ugly cartoon.
Afraid to look ugliness in the face?
Number 2.
Look at it!
Mail call. I'm a male. What'd I get?
Out of the way, Schmingers! Round-shaped characters first!
Hey, no fair. I got round stuff. La la la. Wait for me.
Secret Mountain Fort Awesome definitely does not live up to its name. One of the ugliest cartoons of the past decade. This show is filled to the brim with ugly characters, ugly color schemes, and ugly design choices. This cartoon was so disgusting that I couldn't bear looking at it long enough to try watching it. It feels like a sin just looking at its direction. Like, what am I doing with my life? What the heck am I watching? What is wrong with me? A character made of butts. A zit-filled pussball. A hairy brute with armpit hair sticking out all over. A blue monstrosity with a distorted body. And a dirty, weird-looking big-nosed hairball whose eyes look like mine after watching this show for my video. Those are the stars of the show. That's what you have to look forward to. This show is just plain ugly. The colors feel way too vibrant and makes you feel like you're having a sugar-induced hallucination. All the characters in the show, including the background ones, are hideous. The voices are grinding and annoying, all except for, and I can't believe I'm saying this, the fart.
Why, thank you, good sir.
These monsters are appropriately named the Disgustoids. That's one thing this show got right, because just looking at it makes me feel disgusted with the show and my life choices. It couldn't possibly get any uglier than this. Right?
I call this one the freaky deaky.
I think you better combo back to that sewer hole before I call the cops.
Afraid to look ugliness in the face?
Number 1.
Look at it!
What? What do you mean that was a number 1? There's no way any other cartoon could possibly be uglier than...
Professor Sugarfish!
Hey, every blowbly! Ooh, that kid really likes my cereal.
Okay, you guys got me. You found some old YouTube poop and decided to play a prank on this old squirrel. Ha ha. Now where's the real cartoon?
What are those? Vents? Dog fart clouds! They smell bad!
No. No. No!
The Problem Solvers. New series premiere Monday night at 8:45, 7:45 Central. Only on Cartoon Network.
What is this? This is not a cartoon. This is an atrocity. A mockery of what cartoons are. Every single millisecond of this cartoon is absolutely revolting. The colors. My god, those colors. What acid trip were they on when they picked the colors for literally everything in this show? What the heck are those patterns? Did they just randomly grab sprites and assets from some sort of online library and mash them together? Like, what the living poop is all this? I feel like I'm going to have a seizure just looking at the background. Gah! And the characters are just ungodly ugly. Looks like something a kindergartner would draw. With their opposite hand. Using a mouse. And painting it on a basic paint program from a 90s Macintosh. Their voices are a joke to the voice acting field. It's like they went on and said, do the most annoying voice you possibly can and make it sound like you're constantly mocking someone. And boom, you got the voices down.
I got a theory. Well, it's more of a single word. Yelled loudly. It's pretty cool. I think you should hear it.
Is it Alfie?
No. Wait, but that might work.
I'm pulling my hair out just trying to stand this cartoon long enough to talk about it. This is the absolute dumbest, ugliest, most horrible, putrid, poorly designed, vile, disgusting excuse for a cartoon that has ever been my displeasure of watching, and I curse this cartoon and all it stands for to an early and well-deserved grave.
Oh, you did it! Hooray!
Can I have some?
Problem solved.
I'm okay. Whew. That was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. If you made it through all that, congrats. And thanks for sticking around. If you're new here, why not press that subscribe button down below to join the Toon Squad today. I promise the cartoons we talk about won't be quite so revolting next time. Speaking of which, why not leave a suggestion below for the next video? Top 10 Toon Mandela Effects. What are some moments from cartoons that you remember from your past that has somehow mysteriously changed? Like maybe the timeline has been altered in our world? Leave your suggestion in the comments below and it just might make it onto the list. Thanks again for watching and holding on to your lunches. And I'll see you all next time. Grab the bucket, hurry!
Obtain the Fleabag Monkey Face!
Good morning.
Hand over the lipstick, thieves!
What lipstick?
This lipstick.